Are you looking to cut your weekly grocery budget? This week I have a meal plan straight from the grocery store that's going to be under $40 for my family of 3. This includes breakfast, lunch, and dinners. So if you are looking to cut your costs, stick around. I'm going to share with you what we're making and how much every serving costs at the end of the video. So let's talk about the groceries that we have. And let me know in the comments below, what groceries did you find on sale at your grocery store? Because that's where we are getting the bulk of our savings. We bought things that were on sale at our grocery store. Now, I do have a few items from my pantry here, but we're using very minimal amounts of these items. But they did come from my pantry and I've got them out, and I will share you the actual cost breakdown including these items as well. So we have potatoes here. I have 10 pounds of potatoes. These were $3. I had a coupon and we're probably only going to use half of these. We'll see as I start to prep them. I have apples here. These were also on sale, 5-pound bag. These were $3.99. We have some rice mix here. This was $1.25. I have 2 packs of cheese here. These were $2 a piece. I have cream cheese. This was the one item that really wasn't on sale for us this week. This was $5.69. We're not going to use both of these. We're only going to use one, and probably not even a whole one. I have sausage here. This sausage at one of our grocery stores. It's buy 2, get 1 free. So I got 3 of these for $7, which is a pretty good price for us in our area. And we're going to throw this into one of our meals here. And then I have beans. These were 99 cents. So we had a coupon for those. I have oatmeal. This wasn't on sale, but it was cheaper to buy the container than it was the boxes. This was $2.29. Bananas, my little one, she's already had 2 of these. These are going to be a side item. I have a cucumber here, 59 cents for the whole cucumber. Flour. This was $2.69. This is a 2-pound container of it from our grocery store. We have crescent rolls here. These were $2 a piece. This is as cheap as I have seen these in ages. Normally they are around $2.50, and that's what we consider a good sales price for these in our area. And then we have chicken. That's our other protein for the week. I have chicken drumsticks, which were $1. Let me make sure I've got that right. $1.39 a pound on sale. This was $2.46. And then we have chicken tenders. These were $1.99 a pound, and we have $4.92. So I'm going to go and start doing the prep work for everything really quick. I need to get potatoes prepped. I need to get a cucumber ready, and I need to just get everything started so we can put all this together, and I will show you what we are going to make for the week. Okay, so I've got everything prepped, and let's start putting our meals together and do the finishing up cooking while we're at it. So first I'm going to start off with getting some water heated. This is water for our oatmeal. This is 5 cups of water. I'm going to get this on the back eye. We're going to get that started and put on medium-high heat. Let it do. We're going to cook the oatmeal as per usual. We'll get that done. I have my chicken breast. We cooked it and I chopped it up into little pieces. This is for the buffalo chicken. So we are going to get it back on the stove and we're going to put it on low, and we're going to put in this cream cheese and this buffalo sauce. So we're going to put the cream cheese and buffalo sauce in here, and I want to tell y'all, this is one of Aaron's absolute favorite dishes. It really is. He loves this meal. Let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, got all that cream cheese off. So we just used one of those things of cream cheese. Again, this is one of the more expensive dinners that I make, but it is one of our favorites, so I don't make it as often as I used to. I used to make this a lot. The next thing I'm going to do is I have our sausage for here. I've cut it up into pieces, and I'm going to get this started on a low heat so it can start to simmer. I'm going to put the lid on it, and we are going to put it on to simmer so it can start cooking. Now, we are making bread. That is what the flour is for. So I have the yeast, the sugar. It was 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 2 cups of water, hot water. and we got our yeast activated. And now we are going to come over here and add our flour. So yeah, I got a little thing of flour. It was what I had room for in the budget because I was trying to keep this reasonable. And a lot of people might not have, you know, $6 or $5 for a bag of flour. And I get that. I totally get that. But this is the flour we prefer. So I got the smaller one instead of the bigger one. But it is actually turns out to be about, how much was that? 9 cents, I wanted to say, per... It's super cheap. Okay, yeah, it's 9 cents per serving, so I was actually pretty happy with that. But you can do a lot better if you use a different flour. And if I were on a tighter budget, if I were like really scrimping to saving, I would go with the cheaper flour. But I do just try to get it where the only ingredient's flour and they don't strip it of everything. That's just my personal opinion. So we're gonna do 5 cups of this. And if you want to know how much my loaf of bread costs when we get finished, I will do the breakdown of the math for you and share with you total cost of everything we're fixing, especially after it gets put together, and how many servings I plan to get out of this and everything. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. We still have quite a little bit of flour left there, and we're just going to mix this up. Now I did turn on my oven. Our house it's cold outside, so right now it's going to take a lot longer for your house to heat up to get your bread tries. So I did put my oven on for a few minutes to get the oven warm so I could pop this in there and I could get it tries. I'm going to do 1/4 of a cup of oil, and for olive oil, 1/4 of a cup is about 60 cents, give or take, depending on your cost. This is a great thing about the internet now, you can look up all your averages and figure out what you're spending on everything. So I added my sugar, my salt, it's a pinch of salt, my flour, my sugar. I'm having to make sure I've got all the ingredients in here so I don't forget something. Okay, now I need to use my hand here and get this mixed up. Make sure my chicken is on. I'm actually going to pop that up because that cream cheese is not melting yet. And I want that cream cheese to be nice and melty. So this makes 2 loaves of bread. So it doesn't make 1 loaf of bread, it makes 2 loaves of bread, and it works out really well for our family. This is just enough for bread for us. We won't eat the whole loaf in a week, or both loaves in a week. We'll eat maybe, I don't eat bread. I will eat the apple and the banana for lunch, or the apple and peanut butter. That's what I've been eating for lunch the past few weeks, and that has worked out really well for me. So I have cut back on the amount of bread I eat, but the rest of my family really likes homemade bread. And I've kind of cut down how hard it is for me to make it. Usually I make bread in much more bulk. If you watch our videos, you know this. You can let me know, are you a bread baker? I would love to know that. Or is this just like, has it fallen out of way in the past few years? So here we go. There's my bread. I'm going to get this into the oven, let it sit for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. The oven's still pretty warm, so it should take it like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to double in size. Once it's double in size, I'll put it in bread pans and then pop it in the oven at 350. We'll bake everything at once because all this food's going in the oven. As much as I can throw in there, it's going in. So I'm going to get this in the oven, get my hands clean, and get to the next project. Now let's get everything else prepped and finished up here. So we are going to start with our chicken here. This chicken is starting to heat up now. I've got to be careful, it's kind of hot. You can tell it's kind of making the noises. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this buffalo chicken, this buffalo sauce to it. Now this can be a little spicy. It depends on how much buffalo sauce you use. Now I would tell you it's going to take more than a tablespoon for you to get any heat off. You like buffalo chicken, but if you like a bit of heat with your food, this is like one of my favorite things to make. I take this filling recipe, I use it for everything. It is so versatile. You could put it on tortillas, you could put it in a crescent roll, you can eat it as a dip on crackers, you can do anything with it. It is one of my go-to things that everybody likes. Now it can get a little pricey. It's one of the more expensive ones, but if you catch everything on sale, it doesn't have to be super expensive. This is one of Aaron's, I would probably say this is one of Aaron's favorite things. We used to eat this, I want to say like every 2 to 3 weeks. I would have to make this meal. So now let's get started on the rest of this food. So here I have our chicken legs, and we're just going to bake these. Very simple, very, very simple. I'm going to put drizzle of olive oil on this, not very much at all. I'm not frying these or anything like that. I'm just going to cook them, bake them in the oven. I don't fry food in my house. A lot of people do. I don't like the mess that frying food actually ends up with. And then what I'm putting on here is a New Orleans Cajun seasoning. I would put whatever you like to eat. This is something that's a little different for us. We typically don't eat just like chicken legs like this usually. But if I'm going to, this is what we want. And it's really good if you have a little bit of honey you could put on it. But I'm not going to do that because my budget didn't allow for it. Well, I could have, but I decided not to for this particular meal. Okay, so there is that. We're gonna knock that extra seasoning off. And these are lovely. Smells so nice. And I was very minimal on it. I don't want to overwhelm it, but it's going to bake up. It's going to be lovely. So I'm going to put the lid over here and just let this set for a few minutes. And whenever, I'll get it back in the refrigerator in just a second. And whenever it's time to put the oven on, I'll put everything in the oven and cook it all at one time. That is my goal. I like to cook everything one time. I'll do like this multiple cook session. Then we're going to come over here, and again I'm going to drizzle just a smidge of this oil on our potatoes. Now I have potatoes two ways here. I have potatoes that are whole, like baked potatoes that I have cut in half, and then I have diced potatoes here. What we are doing is for the whole potatoes, we're just going to put a little bit of salt on those. We were talking just a smidget. And then for the diced potatoes, we are going to put those with the New Orleans Cajun seasoning. Again, just a little bit because we do not want to overwhelm these potatoes. We just want them to have a nice taste. Potatoes will go in the oven and we're done. I keep my potatoes simple. Now I'm going to stir my chicken here. And my water is almost done. And we'll go ahead, excuse me, and get this started for our chicken wrap. Okay, and I need to find out where. It was supposed to be just a dough sheet, but it doesn't look like just a dough sheet. It looks like okay. We want to just kind of lay this in here like you would anything else. Now I'm going to take this extra and I'm going to cut that off and put it on my side here so I can kind of build this up a bit. You can kind of build up your sides with these. This was the first time I'm using the actual dough sheets themselves. They've never really been on sale. I usually would just use the crescent rolls, and I will make the crescent rolls homemade. Just right now that is not in my bandwidth but they are 100 times better if they're homemade. This is like an amazing meal when those crescent rolls are homemade. But you have to find them on sale. So that's why we make this when we do now. Before I was getting them at, I could get them at Aldi's, occasionally when we shopped at Aldi's more. Now we don't really shop at Aldi's as much because it's just really not worth the price for us to get over there. And we don't really buy a lot of processed foods or anything like that anymore. I try to make as much as I can ourselves. So because we're doing that, typically I will end up making it, and then got a big hole here. And my pan has got a little bit of grease on it, so there you go. Not perfect, not beautiful, but that is okay. It is going to be so tasty, that does not matter. I'm going to turn this back up. I turned it down because it was making noises. We're going to give it another stir, and I'm going to check on those sausages. I turned those up as well. Okay, we're going to give everything just a few minutes to cook, and then we will finish this whole meal up, and it will be ready to eat. All right, now we are ready to start putting these things together. I'm going to switch the stove off so my sausage is a little bit closer. So it's nice, it's sizzling, it's bubbly, it smells amazing. I actually need a thing underneath this one, I forgot it. This is a cutting board, but it will do just fine. Okay, so here is our crust, and here is our filling. We're just going to add this filling inside the crust. You can do this with anything. You can do this with tacos. I mean, the options for this meal are endless. We really like this. I would say like the Kraft chicken with the ranch seasoning and cream cheese and sour cream and all of that. I bet that would be good with the cheese in it. I would say that would be really good with this. I would also say the Olive Garden chicken would be really good this way. But we love the buffalo chicken. There's nothing any better to us than the buffalo chicken this way. It's our absolute, complete, and total favorite. And this is going to make a lot. I think this is going to make a lot. I thought 9 servings, possibly. It might be closer to 10. But we will go with 9. So here it is before we put the top on. And here we are. The crescent roll. We're going to take it, pop it open. Before I would have to watch Aaron because he'd be like, "Can I have more?" He would eat half the thing before I got it up. And I would make them in a round dish. They're very pretty in a round dish. But he would eat the whole thing before I ever got it up. Okay. And again, I don't really care about it being very pretty. I just care about it being covered. I will say the sheets are a lot faster. Normally, I'm having to pull these a lot more. And there we go. So I will put this in the refrigerator till it's time to bake. But this is it. Not beautiful. I know it's not pretty. I'm not a pretty cook. I'm a practical cook, and practical cook that works about it doesn't taste good. So those are done. I'll put this in the sink. Okay, now let's get our rice going. What we're going to make with this meal is going to be taco, sausage, and beans and rice. So we have these here. I went ahead and let them get cooking so they would be nicely seared and kind of cooked a bit more. And we need 2 cups of water, and that's about what we got here. I'm gonna add 2 cups of water. I need my black beans. I've got a can of black beans. And then we are going to add our taco rice. Now the reason I went for a flavored rice with this one, I thought it would be easier than me buying taco seasoning, buying a rice dish. And this one was already seasoned. You could do this with the Spanish rice. I typically use taco seasoning for everything. So first time I've bought a rice packet, and I can't tell you when. So here is what it looks like. It smells nice. And we're just going to get this on the stove, let it simmer, and let it cook. It's supposed to cook in 7 minutes. Now we are going to pull off the part of our breakfast that is the oatmeal. You know what I forgot? I forgot to add cheese. I did not add the cheese to the top of my buffalo chicken. Well, we got to fix that. I got to fix that fast, actually, because, oh lordy. Okay, so these are just regular oats. We are going to do 5 half cups here. There's 1. And this will not take long to cook. It will just take a little bit to cook to finish up. 3, 4, and 5. Okay. You still see we still have quite a bit of this oatmeal left. I find if you want, like, buying the oatmeal in the bigger containers is a lot more cost effective when you come down to it. Did I use that? We'll use a spoon. And then we're just going to stir this up and put it back on the stove for just a few minutes on a low heat. We've got to be careful, it will boil over. And we are going to fix this. We need to fix this. So I need to lift this lovely thing off really fast. There we go. I'm going to use 1/4 of the provolone and 1/4 of the mozzarella on top of this, and that still gives me a few pieces to use on top of our potatoes. Because who doesn't like a baked potato with cheese? So 1/4 of this is 1, 2. Now the sliced cheese, I typically would not go with this, but it was the cheaper cheese. So that is why I went with the sliced cheese instead of like the other cheese. It was just made more sense economically. And normally I wouldn't do provolone, but I thought the provolone would add a creaminess to it. I usually just use mozzarella, but I thought the provolone would kind of just add a little bit something to it. Watching my oatmeal. We're going to use 4 pieces of the mozzarella. I will say this is a lot faster than grating it. I would probably go this route every other time just because this is a lot faster than actually grating this. So, okay. And that was an easy fix. I will tell you, if I didn't use the sheets, this would have been a lot harder to fix. A lot harder. I'd probably just put it on top because that would have been just as effective. Okay. A little uglier now, but she's done. I got the cheese on there. Now I need to stir my oatmeal, and then we will finish it off once it gets done because the oatmeal just needs a little bit of sugar added. And we're only adding 1/4 cup of sugar, and this will be our oatmeal for the week because we'll eat oatmeal and an apple for breakfast. We can put the apple in it or not. It's really whatever you want. I will probably have the apple on the side. Don't know what Aaron and the little one will want until in the morning, but oatmeal it will be. So we're just going to do 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup of sugar. The sugar is about 11 cents. And you're like, that's not enough sugar for the amount of oatmeal you did. I've been cutting back on our sugar a lot. Like when I say a lot, I'm talking a lot. So it has helped quite a bit. especially with making our sugar go a lot further. Even Aaron's coffee, our coffees, I've been cutting back on the amount of sugar in there. It just has helped a bit. It helps with the budget, with the sugar itself. Even my canning, I've cut back the amount of sugar I use. So it's better for us, and it helps cut our grocery prices as well. So I'm gonna let everything finish cooking, and when we come back, I will everything will have been baked. The bread will bake, the potatoes, the chicken, this rice beans and sausage will be ready to go. Everything will be cooked. Show you all what it looks like, and I will break down the cost per serving for each meal and also for the entire week altogether. It will break it down, and I'll share with you how I'm feeding my family on a really tight budget for this week. So it's been about 2 hours. Everything is finished. And now I want to go through and show you everything that we fixed, and I'm going to share with you how much it cost us and the total cost at the end. And I will say this is more of like a realistic meal plan I went through for us. This would be very realistic. I try to keep our meals pretty cheap, but I will tell you there is a trick to getting your budget down lower, and that's with your breakfast and lunch. So our breakfast and lunch turned out to be really, really cheap for us this week, which gave me a little bit of wiggle room to do something a little bit more fancy for dinner. Well, not really fancy, but a little bit more expensive for dinner. So let's start with breakfast. So I counted our apples. We have 18 apples. We will be eating probably about, like, Aaron and I and the little one will split an apple for breakfast. We'll have an apple for lunch, and we'll have a banana for lunch as well. So we have our apple and our oatmeal. So this is how much I would give Aaron. This is a meal serving for him. Now, Aaron, he would be happy with the apple and coffee. He literally grouches at me. This is almost too much oatmeal for him. He will grouch at me. And I did taste it. It was sweet enough. I was a little bit worried about that. Perfectly sweet enough. Does not need any more sugar. So we'll do the apple. Here's what it looks like. You can see there's a little divot in there where I had the spoon. I didn't pull it out. There's our oatmeal. Our oatmeal turned out to be total cost with the apple, because we'll be eating half the apples with breakfast, half of them with lunch, and we might have a few extra in there for a snack if we need it. 21 cents per serving, or $3.01 total, and that is for 15 meals. So I feel really good about that. So like 20 cents with fresh fruit, that's a pretty good deal. You could probably switch the apple for the banana, put the banana in the oatmeal. If Aaron wants his apple in his oatmeal, before I heat it up, I'll peel it, chop a few pieces, throw it in there, and give it a little bit more sweetness, a little bit of crunch. I typically prefer mine on the side. So there we have breakfast, 21 cents per. I'm really happy with that. And that will work out really well for us for the week. Now, let's go to lunch. And I have to refer. So with lunch, we are having, again, we're having some apples. We're having some bananas here. The bananas, we'll go through 2 bananas. Isabel and I will split one because they're very big. And Aaron will have a whole one. And then we'll have apples again. And we'll have bread. And what we'll be having this week, because I typically do 2 weeks of peanut butter jelly, 1 week of something else. So this week is a peanut butter jelly week. Now, I didn't buy peanut butter. I didn't buy jelly. I won't buy jelly. I won't buy jelly for the next 10 years. I have enough canned right now that we're really working through what we have canned. So that's what we're eating. So this is some apple butter I canned this year, and I will give you $1 for each of these, but I'm going to tell you something. For us, in all reality, it's actually way less than that. This jar of peanut butter lasts me a really long time. Like a really long time. We don't use a lot of either ingredient. The one who gets the most, well, I would say I get less than everybody because I just need enough to taste it. Isabel needs a little bit more. Aaron needs a little bit more than that. But with the natural peanut butter, this was $4. So I would say divide it by 4. That gives you $1 per week. Now, and then the jelly, I will give you $1 on it whenever I did my calculation, but it's probably closer to like 50 cents. I don't use a lot of this stuff at all. Apples, $2. Bananas were $2. Then we come to our bread. Now my bread for 2 loaves is $2.75 to make. That is including the oil, the sugar, the salt. the yeast because I buy my yeast in bulk, so I'm able to get a better price on that. And then even with the more expensive flour, now if you want to go with a cheaper flour, you can really save some money on this. And then our total is going to be $8.75 for everything for lunch. You divide that by 15, and that gives us a total of 58 cents per serving. So, and our loaves of bread, they turned out really quite beautiful. I'm actually kind of proud of these this time. They actually turned out really, really lovely. Normally, my bread, I'm hit or miss. It always tastes good, but it doesn't normally look as pretty as this one turned out. So it turned out really, really well. Now, I will tell you, for dinner, I've got some wiggle room. And that's what I really focused on. I actually extended out my dinner. My dinners tend to be a little bit more expensive, a little bit different, because I try to keep our breakfast and our lunch cheap. You know, sandwich, fruit, that's pretty good lunch, and it's a healthy lunch. So I'm really happy with that. So let's go with our first meal, which is our buffalo chicken. I'm going to get 9 servings out of this. And I'm sorry, it just came out of the oven, so it is very, very hot. Here's what it looks like. And before this is over, I'll cut into it and let you all see what it looks like. Beautiful, lovely. We will have it with these baked potatoes, and we will take a piece of cheese from here and a piece of cheese from here, and I'll split it between all of us on the potato, because you don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. Just a smidge. I try to really control that, which is why the slices really help. It kind of helps you keep it from putting too much on anything. So if you can control the amount of ingredients you're spreading across, you can really stretch those out much, much further. So this one was $15.07. So I've used some expensive ingredients. I have cream cheese. I have the cheese. I have all of those more expensive, the crescent rolls. This was more expensive. The potatoes were the cheap part of this meal. And it turned out to be $1.67 per serving, because we have 9 total servings here. So this will really stretch pretty far for us. Now we have our rice and sausage, which turned out to look really good. Now I put this down as 3 servings. I'm going to tell you something. This is probably because you're 4 or 5. This is a lot. It is a lot. It smells very, very good. I'm a little surprised how good this smells. I was like, I don't know. Erin gave me a look like, are you sure about this? But it smells really good. It tastes pretty good too. So I'm kind of happy about that one. And we will have that with cucumbers. So here's how much that 1 cucumber made. And we will split this into 2 meals, and we will split this between us. Now, Erin can't have a lot of cucumbers. It causes it just to tear up his belly, so he can't have a lot of cucumbers, but I can. So the cucumbers, it will be good. That's fine. I'm cool with that. If you wanted to, you can even take some of this cheese and put on top of that rice, and that would probably be really good too. But I'm probably not going to do that, because it's a lot of cheese to spread out throughout the week. This meal, this right here, this was the expensive part of this meal. This meal turned out to be $5.08 or $1.69 per person. So I'm very happy with that. 3 meals. And again, I really think that this in particular is probably closer to 5 servings and not 3. That would be like a massive helping of 3. If I give Erin that much food, or if I try to feed myself that much food, yeah, we'll see how far I could get that to go. But I'm pretty sure we set it at 3. We're going to leave it at 3. Okay, then the next thing we're going to have, I've got these potatoes here. I should have showed them to you for the other, but they all turned out pretty. They're beautifully cooked, fork tender, nice and lovely. Now, I don't wrap in aluminum foil. I don't really like to cook in aluminum foil. I have some in case I need it, but I typically don't use it. So if I'm going to turn the oven on to bake, I would just bake in a pan like this. It works just fine for me, but that's just my own personal choice. So bake in aluminum foil if that's what you like. So there's our potatoes. Now, here is our chicken. Again, this just came out of the oven. You could tell these green ones, I really need to throw them away. I just can't bring myself to do it. Here's the chicken. Looks really lovely, smells wonderful. Again, this is going to be 3 servings, potatoes, chicken, cucumbers. Lovely, lovely. Total for this meal, $4 and a penny, or $1.34 per serving. I feel like that's really good. Now you all are like, okay, Julia, you spent a lot on dinner compared to our 58 cents or 21 cents that we spent on lunch and breakfast. Yes, but my total cost turned out to be $35.92, or a total of 80 cents per serving if you do the math across all this. And this is a lot of food. I mean, this is a lot of food. So we're going to go through it. We're going to eat. I'm going to serve this up right now so you all can see what it looks like, because this is one of our absolute favorites. And if you notice that I have paper plates, yes, I do. They are for emergencies when we need them or when I don't feel like cooking. So I'm going to be careful here. So what I typically tend to do, especially when I'm trying to portion things out, I will try to make sure I put like a little indent here so I could get this more of like an even amount. Okay, yeah, that will, yeah. Okay. So I kind of put a little indent so I kind of know where I want to start the meal. And then I will go through and cut into it. Aaron, he came out, he's like, it smells so good. He's super excited. This is his absolute favorite. Look at how cheesy that looks. And that is it, people. That is it. It is lovely, lovely. We will put potato with this, some cheese, and we have a meal. And then if we need a snack, we have some extra apples, we have some bananas. We are good to go with food. So let me know in the comments below, what are you cooking this week? What is your cost? Do you look at price per? And like I said, this is really a realistic 80 cent. I feel like this is a really good meal for 80 cents per person. This is not really an extreme budget, just very careful and being kind of smart with how we use ingredients. So let me know in the comments below, what are you doing? What are you cooking this week? I'd love to hear from you. What good sales did you get? Check out our link tree. And as always, thank you for joining us on The Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.